Click raises a feather toward his own ribs and braces for total disaster. He pokes the exact spot, wiggles the exact feather, and gets almost nothing. Then someone else touches the same spot and his whole body launches into orbit. The skin was touched both times, so what changed before the touch even arrived? Try the harmless version on your palm or the sole of your foot. Move one finger across it while deciding exactly where that finger will go next. You feel pressure and motion, but the surprise has been drained away. Your nervous system is not receiving that touch as an unexplained visitor. Now imagine a robot secretly delaying the touch created by your moving hand. The movement happens now, but the brush reaches your other hand a moment later. As the delay grows, the sensation becomes harder for the brain to dismiss. That robot exposes the hidden prediction that normally makes self-tickle fail. The usual answer is that you cannot surprise yourself. That is close, but it is also too simple. The deeper answer involves a motor command, a prediction, and a comparison with reality. It also comes with a scientific asterisk that most explanations quietly leave out. Every voluntary movement begins as more than an order sent to your muscles. The nervous system can also use information related to that order to predict its consequences. If your finger is heading toward your ribs, it can estimate where and when contact should occur. This predictive signal is often described using the term efference copy. Think of it as an advance receipt for a sensation that has not arrived yet. The receipt says which body part moved, where the touch should land, and roughly when. Incoming touch is compared with that expectation. When the match is excellent, the expected sensation receives less perceptual emphasis. Scientists call that reduction sensory attenuation. It does not mean the skin stopped sending signals or that the brain deleted the touch. You still know your fingers made contact. The self-generated sensation simply tends to feel weaker and less ticklish than an external one. This helps explain why predictability alone cannot be the entire story. You can watch another person slowly move a hand toward your side and know what is coming. You may know the place and the moment with uncomfortable accuracy, yet their touch can still produce a reaction that your own hand cannot reproduce. The crucial advantage is not merely conscious knowledge. Your brain has privileged information about a voluntary movement that it generated itself. That information links the outgoing action to its expected sensory result. Another person's hand does not arrive with the same internal motor signal. In a classic experiment, participants used one hand to control a robot. A second robot delivered the resulting stroke to the other palm. When movement and touch lined up, participants rated the sensation as less tickly. Researchers could then sabotage the prediction without changing who initiated the action. They inserted delays between the controlling movement and the delivered stroke. They also changed the path so the resulting touch no longer matched the movement. Ticklishness ratings rose as timing and spatial correspondence became worse. The brain predicted one result and received another. Later work showed just how sharply this system watches the clock. A delay of about 1/10 of a second can reduce normal attenuation, but the system is not permanently fixed to one timing rule. After repeated exposure to a consistent delay, people can begin attenuating the delayed touch instead. That makes the prediction less like a stamped label and more like a model that learns. It updates when the world repeatedly violates the old timing. The delayed touch becomes the new expected consequence of the movement. Then an immediate touch can start to feel more external again. There is another revealing trick. Move the body without the usual voluntary command. Researchers have used magnetic stimulation to trigger an involuntary arm movement. When that movement caused a stimulus on the person's foot, it remained comparatively ticklish. Movement by itself did not recreate the full dampening effect of ordinary self-touch. Brain imaging adds a possible piece of machinery. Self-produced touch has been associated with reduced activity in somatosensory regions compared with external touch. Studies also implicate the cerebellum and its communication with somatosensory areas. That fits a system using movement predictions to adjust the processing of expected feedback. But saying the cerebellum is your tickle cancellation button would go beyond the evidence. The cerebellum participates in prediction and coordination across many kinds of movement. The measured brain differences do not reduce a complicated experience to one tiny switch. They identify parts of a network that behave differently during self-generated touch. Now, for the asterisk hidden inside the word tickle. Researchers often separate light crawling or feathery sensation from heavy laughter-producing tickle. The light form is called nismesis. The intense social form that makes people squirm and laugh is called gargalesis. Many famous sensory attenuation experiments did not produce full tickle laughter. They used gentle strokes on a palm, controlled taps, or judgments of touch intensity. Those methods are excellent for precise measurement. They are not identical to someone rapidly tickling your ribs or armpit. So the textbook mechanism is supported most directly for self-generated touch and light ticklish sensations. Scientists widely treat it as the leading explanation for failed self-tickle. But current reviews argue that laughter-producing gargalesis still needs more direct neural testing. The familiar answer is useful without being the final chapter. A modern experiment measured what a real human tickle response looks like over time. Changes in breathing and joyful facial movement appeared only a few hundred milliseconds after touch began. Vocal laughter followed later, and its timing and sound tracked subjective ticklishness. The body starts answering before a person could deliver a careful verbal report. The same study combined another person's tickle with simultaneous self-tickling. Self-touch reduced the reported ticklishness and delayed the start of vocalization. Actually touching the body produced more suppression than merely making the movement. That suggests attenuation can affect sensory input arriving at the same time, not just one predicted point. Tickle is also shaped by body location, mood, context, and social interaction. Anticipation can make someone tense before contact even begins. Laughter during tickling is partly reflexive and does not always mean the experience is welcome. If someone wants the tickling to stop, laughter is not a reason to continue. Why would the nervous system turn down predictable sensations at all? One sensible function is to keep the sensory world from being dominated by your own actions. Every step, scratch, breath, and spoken word creates feedback. Reducing expected feedback can make unexpected outside events stand out more clearly. This principle reaches far beyond tickling. Your own footsteps and voice usually feel different from matching events generated around you. Motor predictions help distinguish consequences of your actions from changes caused elsewhere. That distinction supports control, correction, and a basic sense that an action was yours. You can remember the mechanism with 3 moments. First, your brain sends the movement command. Second, it predicts the sensory consequence. Third, matching feedback is turned down while mismatching feedback keeps more of its surprise. That is why the delayed robot matters. Click's own action creates a touch that no longer matches the brain's prediction, so less of the sensation is attenuated. So return to Click, still holding that useless feather beside his ribs. His fingers did not fail, and his skin did not become immune. His nervous system recognized the consequences of its own action before they arrived. The tickle lost its ambush, and without the ambush, the feather never stood a chance.